Hey guys, today I'll be sharing with you my process of painting the cities I've been to. This started off as my quarantine/lockdown project back in around May last year. I thought it was really fitting to kind of memorialise these trips as we couldn't travel back then. It was my project to kind of just stay sane, and it was a distraction from the mundane and really monotonous days of what was known as lockdown. So here I'm starting off with painting Tokyo and the cities I visited in Japan. Here is the reference photo that I took while I was sightseeing, and I thought it was a really cool shot because I visited during winter, and I think it was just a rare photo that I got to take of these autumn colours and really bright blue skies despite seeing lots of rain and snow. Now I'm moving on to my painting for Nagoya, which I did of these two koi fish swimming in a pond. I chose to do Polaroid themed shapes to really encapsulate the fact that these are only one snapshot from an entire trip. You know, we look back on our photos and trips or even memories that come up on Facebook that evoke feelings of strong nostalgia and a longing to relive something that was only reserved for our past selves to experience. I also thought if I did these small Polaroid templates that it would be a lot quicker because there's a lot less surface area, but I ended up just using equally tiny brushes and adding a lot more details. Using primarily watercolours, and later on in the project I introduced gouache for details. Watercolours is probably my go-to or favourite medium when it comes to making art. Things about it that make it intimidating to use for other people is kind of why I love it so much. It's fast drying, so if you lay something down, there's not much you can do to alter it. You kind of have to commit to every stroke you lay in the paper. I also thought it would be really fitting to have these paintings done as watercolours, because a lot of the strokes were done with the same sort of intuition and thought process as my holiday planning skills. I decided what colours to wear, just like I decided which city to go to next. So yeah, here were my first 4 cities that I painted that were Japan. And yeah, next is Europe. I started off by painting 3 of them at the same time, so that while one was drying I could work on the other. And yeah, Amsterdam was supposed to be on the left, but that one flopped a little bit, so I'm doing Dublin in the middle and Vianden on the right. Instead of just copying one reference photo, I decided to kind of bring a few images together for Ireland, including this quote right here that I found at the Guinness Museum. Now I am moving on to my painting for Vianden. I took a photo of this room in a castle that I visited whilst I was in Luxembourg. So did I actually paint every city I went to? Well, technically I was only off by like 5 or 6, but then I realised, well, I'm going to keep travelling. Hopefully, so it's a continual work in progress. Whilst painting most of these, I usually had a podcast playing in the background, or I was watching a documentary. Here I am just building layer upon layer, waiting for the first one to dry and then adding different like shades of the same colour. Like here I'm laying on a warmer orange, kind of just to give it a bit more depth. And then yeah, here I'm adding details with pencils, just because I couldn't get the paint to go as fine, and with gold paint, because the original photo was just so gold and it was just, yeah, had this really royalty feel to it. And the way I wrote the names for each Polaroid, I used a different font just to add a bit more visual interest. Here I was thinking I was almost done. I think I was pretty much done and I think ready to move on from this project, but I don't even think I was just under halfway. And yeah, I was practicing the different fonts. I got inspiration from the website DaFont. And don't know if you can tell, but it does say Bella and Edward. I think I needed to just some scrap paper to practice on, and I found this Twilight book lying around and was like, yep, that'll do. Milan was kind of an impulse trip. I was travelling with my aunties, and yeah, we saw Ryanair was having a sale, so we thought, sure, let's go to Milan. And pretty much the only thing we did there was eat Jollibee, hence why I did the Jollibee logo for that city. I guess since it is my first YouTube video, I'll introduce myself a bit. I'm Chelsea. Hello, hi, hope you're doing well. I don't know how I'm supposed to be doing this. I don't know if you can tell, but I wrote a script for like the first half, and yeah, I was like, let's wing it. Obviously, I've travelled a bit, and because of COVID, I've had to find other ways to fill my time, but I've always been painting and drawing, so yeah, this kind of just seemed natural to go back to painting and to marry those two interests of mine together, painting and travelling, so hence why I'm here, painting cities. Oh, and the watercolour I'm using that you see in the top right corner is the Winsor Newton Sketches Pocket Box. So here I'm painting, it's like a scenery of a hill, and this picture was taken while I was on the train or tram of it. I tried a different technique of not having the watercolours go all the way to the edge and instead have it just like a little bit of white on the edge to kind of give it a more dreamy feeling. And here I'm adding one of my favourite effects, which is splattering it. And now with most of the background done in watercolours, I bought a box of gouache and added details with that. This is one of the last cities I painted, or at least recorded. It's of Kuala Lumpur. It was actually my last travel, and it was study abroad, so yeah, it was only a month into that when COVID was declared, so we had to go back home, and yep, it means that I've been trying to paint, record, and edit this video for a year. So here you can see that I'm painting really washed out colours. They're really watered down, and that's just because watercolour you can only go from light to dark, and you'd rather build up your layers than try to remove something. So I'm using really washed out purples and blues and just building that up. Here is what it looks like with just watercolours, and then I've included progress photos of me putting a little bit of gouache and how I did the building, which was just black gouache and white gouache, and I didn't go all the way. As you can see, I let the sunset colours kind of peep through to kind of just give it more texture. And I didn't really know what to do with the bottom, so I did that. So here's my closing montage, if you will, of the ones that I thought turned out just a little bit better than the other ones. Yeah, thanks for watching my first YouTube video, especially if you made it to the end. Subscribe, I guess, to stay tuned for more. I'll definitely have more content, as I'm not doing that much these days. So yeah, hope you all have a good one, and see y'all in the next one.